Brought to you by Sip for Your Cause.
Hello, and welcome again to another episode of Let's Talk Nonprofits, programming where we provide the opportunity for nonprofits to gain the best practices that are bringing about the increased awareness, the increased funding, sustainability, and ultimately impact on nonprofit organizations. And today we're excited to have a tremendous leader in the person of Ms. Angela Williams, who is a great leader of Voice Today. So welcome to the show.
Oh, Nash, it's so great to be with you this morning.
Well, let me tell you, I know you're doing so much work out there, very positive work, and we're very, very, very pleased to have you on the show. Again, guys, we talk about best practices that other organizations can learn from, and we're going to get to that. But before we get into Voice Today and what it is and how great of an impact it's making, we always want to get to know who is the person. We want them to understand that you are doing the extraordinary work, but not really anything extraordinary about you except the work that it has on. I've been finding a better way to say that, but the bottom line is I just want them to understand you're an everyday person that took on a calling, and as a result, you're doing great work. So just tell them about Angela Williams.
Well, Angela Williams has had the opportunity to take her greatest pain and turn it into her greatest passion in trying to protect the next generation of children from child sexual abuse and in trying to give victims a voice and in help them in healing. I was 17 years old and I was barefoot wearing a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt when I climbed to the top of the Talmadge Bridge and began to cry hysterically, looking down over black swirling waters and didn't have the courage to jump. I reeked of vomit because I had tried to kill myself with a bottle of sleeping pills and vodka, and my body rejected the poison. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I wasn't going to go home and be raped and beaten by my stepfather again. And that was the beginning of the end of my abuse. Sadly, it was a suicide attempt, but I feel like Angela Williams is a voice for the voiceless. I'm a crusader. I founded the Voice Movement to really get this issue out of the closet and into the public arena. I'm an author. I authored From Sorrows to Sapphires to really give people an understanding of why the little girl keeps the secret and the journey that I have been on to healing, and I am still on my journey. It's like every day that I'm able to advocate, that I'm able to speak up, that I'm able to help a survivor, I feel like I peel off a layer of my healing. And many of your viewers may not know the magnitude of this problem. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys, by CDC statistics, are sexually abused before they're 18. But that's the tip of the iceberg because only 1 in 10 ever tell. 9 years old is the median age, and there are 42 million, some statistics will say 60 million reported survivors in the U.S. I mean, take that. If we just looked at, I know your show goes across the country, but even in Georgia where we sit today, there's 10 million population. So roughly 25 to 30% of that population has been sexually abused. You're talking about 2.5 to 3 million people.
Yes.
This isn't a small problem.
Yes.
So it needs big solutions, and that's what hopefully Voice Today is here to talk about.
Well, let me reassure you that Angela Williams, you've heard her share her reasoning behind what she's doing, and I tell you, she is out there advocating. In fact, let's just jump right in. I mean, House Bill 17. She's very much active with the legislature, ensuring that there are laws that are passed that promotes and encourage the safety and protection of children and adults and gives a voice. But let's talk about H. Bill 17, House Bill 17.
Well, there are 4 areas that Voice Today is working in: advocacy, prevention, healing, and awareness. So in the advocacy piece, Voice Today has worked on introducing House Bill 17 that would extend the statute of limitations on civil child sexual abuse cases. Currently in the state of Georgia, by age 23, you have to face your perpetrator in a court of law. Our laws do not allow a victim time to process, to heal, Many victims deal with self-destructive behaviors. Perhaps it's addiction, perhaps it's eating disorders, PTSD. By 23, they have to go into a court of law or they don't get any civil action. So we want to extend that in what we feel is a meaningful extension, and that would be 53 years old. We also wanted to provide a 2-year window. In 2012, our criminal statute was removed, but it locks everybody out of our court system who was sexually abused prior to 2012. Wow. So most people don't understand. The third thing that we want to do with this bill is open up records. If you are subject to an investigation as a child, you don't have any right to those records. They're sealed. As an adult, you don't even have the evidence that you need to go into a court of law. Not only does this bill give child rape victims justice, it is a prevention mechanism because it exposes the perpetrators in our communities. It implants inherently risk management into businesses and institutions and youth-serving organizations to say, I've got some liability on the line. I may need to be protecting the children that I am in the care of a little better. So that's the importance of House Bill 17. What happened yesterday under the dome is it got butchered. It got absolutely butchered.
And in what ways would you describe that butchering?
Well, we have jokingly said we presented the Hidden Predator Act, and now it's the Hiding the Predator Act. What they voted out of subcommittee yesterday is a predator-friendly act. What the bill that came out of committee did not give us 1 day on that 23 years old, not 1 day. Wow. Not 1 day. What they did is they put the rights of the children in Georgia nationally is at the bottom. They put us further than the bottom. Dogs have more rights in Georgia than children have. They put a 2-year discovery rule. A discovery rule means that I have to go into court and I have to fight that my injury, that when I discovered my injury was in a 2-year window. That burdens our legal system, that burdens victims. And they took away any opportunity for damages. Wow. A child you can sue if you hit the back of a car and a child's in it and injured, you can sue. A tree falls across your fence into your neighbor's yard, they can sue you. But a child gets raped or sodomized, they're saying, nope, you can't sue for damages.
First of all, I want to encourage you seriously to read up on House Bill 17. In fact, they can access that.
They can go to our website page, voicetoday.org/ACT, ACT. The Hidden Predator Act of Georgia has its own Facebook page, and there's tons of research and information. But what we're asking for is for Georgia to stand up. If we've got the reputation of being number one in child trafficking, why don't we have the reputation for being number one in protecting the rights of child rape victims? That's my question.
I tell you, I encourage you to please connect, and usually at the end, but I'm going to allow at this time Angela to share with you ways in which you can connect with Voice Today. Even while you're watching this, go over into your other media device and access the page and begin to find out how you can get involved and, in fact, become part of the Voice movement. But would you share with them those ways that they can connect and stay in contact?
Voicetoday.org, if they will fill out our contact page, they'll be on our mailing list. Right. But specifically on this bill, you elected a representative in the House of Representatives. You have elected a senator in the Senate, and so in the Georgia House and the Georgia Senate, I want them writing their representatives, and we need to write Governor Deal. We need to let him know this is a predator-friendly bill. This doesn't need to squeak through and get passed, and the victims of Georgia suffer. That's just, it's not right. It's not just, and so we're fighting for justice.
Let me tell you this, and many of you out there may be looking and saying, well, I'm not impacted by that, but I will assure you that you are, and you just may not know. In fact, Angela has shared about she has not come in contact with anyone who has not been touched by it. So although you may not feel that this directly impacts you, we're going to encourage you, and I'm specifically asking you to please go get involved. Go to the mailing list, join it, get involved with the writing campaign. And if you happen to be, and hopefully our listeners don't fall in this category, but if you don't know who your representative is or your senator, please find out. Go that extra mile to find out. I know too on your website and your communications, you encourage people to become protectors.
Yes.
And I believe, and she would share further in conversation, but one way you can become a part of that process of protecting is taking action with communication with your legislative representatives. So,
Well, Nash, I don't know
yeah,
who it would not apply to,
yeah,
because if you are a survivor, obviously it applies. If you have a child, wouldn't you like to know and have a predator
good point.
exposed in your
Good
community?
point.
If you're a teacher, if you're a coach, wouldn't you want to know how to protect your children? So I really don't know, unless someone is absolutely in a bubble and has zero contact with a child. Most of us have, if we don't in our own home. We've got nieces, we've got nephews, we've
Right.
got children in our lives at
Right.
church that we are concerned about protecting. So in my mind, we are responsible for children. They don't vote, they don't pay taxes, and they don't have a voice. So we are their voice.
Well, I tell you, I appreciate you sharing that and clarifying that. I want to ask, I know that you talk about the ways in which people can become involved with protecting. In fact, I think there was something about the 4 steps that adults can get involved with.
Sure.
Would you share that with us?
Sure, it's a formula called SAFE. And the first thing that adults need to do with children is, and with each other, is we need to speak about the issue of child sexual abuse. It is this stigmatized, almost taboo subject. And we as adults need to speak to each other, because perhaps there's a child in danger, and when we talk about it, we put the pieces together
Okay.
so we can intervene.
Yeah.
We need to be speaking to our children and helping them understand that, it's not bad people, but people make bad decisions.
Yeah.
So we tend to look for this monster in the park, or this,
Right.
in the overcoat,
Right.
and we are conditioning our children. 93% of abuse comes from someone the child knows, loves, and trusts. So your child needs to understand that there might be somebody in your life that you trust, that you love, that may act inappropriately.
And let me put a pin right there, because you talk about the pop points. You share pop points, and
Yes.
it speaks to that. So just, I know you're going through that, but please
Yes,
just speak
well-
to the pop points.
Well, and I got to get back to the SAFE formula, but the Power Protection Points is a video on our website. If you're listening today, you can play that video in your church, in a PTA meeting, in a book club meeting. It's 10 Power Up Protection Points for your children that you can apply. What we want to provide at Voice today is very user-friendly tools and resources and things that take away the angst and take away the fear of the
Yes.
subject of child sexual abuse. So after we speak, which is S, A in the formula of SAFE is ask. We need to be asking our children, has anyone made you feel uncomfortable? Has anyone ever told you to keep a secret? Has anyone ever touched your private parts? And describe those private
Yes.
parts as any place that your swimsuit covers. F is challenging. We have to follow up. If a child discloses, yes, I'm uncomfortable, yes, I've been touched, yes, this happened to me, we need to have the courage, just like if that child was shot and bleeding in the living room, you pick up the phone and you call 911. You get safety for that child. You get that disclosure taken by a specialist, by a professional forensic interviewer. You intervene. It does not matter if they disclose that it was your brother, your best friend, even hardly to say your husband. You got to step in and do the right thing. So E is education. We're not educating ourselves, and that's why Voice Today is producing prevention programs and tools and resources. We have videos on our website. We have books on our website. We have training sessions that you can come to educate yourself on how to predict and prevent child sexual abuse. I'm going to give you a couple of ways you can educate, just a couple. Just a little, what we call an appetizer. If you are going to a birthday party, or it's Christmas time, or there's some event that you're wrapping a gift, use that opportunity to help your child understand the difference between a surprise and a secret. Surprises make people happy. You're going to reveal that surprise at some time in the future. Secrets, not so much. Secrets are concealing something and could be dangerous. When you're dressing your child for the pool or for the beach and you pull out the swimsuit, it's a great time to reinforce where their private parts are, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. Perhaps they're going to the doctor and they're getting examined. That's a very great educational moment to explain to them, your private parts are going to be examined. Your doctor is going to have my permission. Perhaps in hygiene. So that bathing suit is a very good tool. Help your child practice their no voice. Get a little play microphone and scream, no!
Yeah.
That guttural no. So when they're threatened, they know what to do.
Yes.
Mama, Daddy said scream no, and scream it loud.
Yes.
That perpetrator's going to run. He is not going to touch that child
Yes.
again, or she is not going to touch that child again. So those type of empowerment tools. And if we have great books on our website, Gracie Finds Her Voice, Grant
Right.
Gets His Shield, they're
Right.
children's books, they're
Right.
fun, they're written in rhyme. They don't talk about sexual abuse, they talk about the tools, they talk about the power of your voice, they talk about the power of personal boundaries. Those are lessons that we're not teaching, and Voice Today is here to help you learn.
Well, let me tell you, it is just awesome, the tools, and I love the way Angela puts that from the perspective of non-invasive, non-threatening tools to help children to gain their voice. And what we're going to do is go in detail more when we come back from the break and talk about some of those tools. And again, please, at this time, go to voicetoday.org, begin to review some of those and get involved. And we look forward to you becoming part of the Voice movement. So we thank our sponsors for the opportunity to bring you quality programming that educates and informs, and we will see you after the break.
What happens when soldiers come home? Brene Foundation offers hero support to ensure that our heroes abroad can continue to be heroes at home. We link veterans with organizations who are dedicated to guiding the transition from military hero to civilian hero. If you want to find out how you can support our troops at home, please contact the Brene Foundation or visit brene.com.
Does your son need a more challenging, focused, and encouraging educational environment? Renaissance Christian Academy is an affordable private school for boys located in McDonough, Georgia, with certified teachers that are uniquely equipped to help your son master learning. You're welcome to schedule a tour of our facilities by calling 770-305-9881 or by visiting our website at rcaboysacademy.org. Renaissance Christian Academy, developing young men to be great leaders through Christ-centered learning.
Thank you, and welcome back to Let's Talk Nonprofits. And we would like to thank our sponsors, particularly our show sponsors, SIP for Your Cause, for the awesome work that they do to help nonprofits, again, increase awareness, funding, sustainability, and impact. And again, we would like to encourage you to visit their website at www.sipforyourcause.org. And remember, this SIP's for you. We look forward to you having a great opportunity to take advantage of those services and programming that they provide for you to be able to improve your nonprofit organization's performance and, again, ultimately its impact. We're going to just recap. We left off with exciting information about how adults can help protect children. And Angela, would you please just recap for us SAFE?
Yeah, we're doing a great short formula that everybody can remember. SAFE. Our goal is to keep children safe, right? So F was for speak. We've got to be talking more about the issue. A is for ask. We've got to have the courage to ask children the tough questions. F is for follow up. Call law enforcement and get that child safe if you suspect a problem. And then E is educate. And we never in any field can get enough education.
Correct.
But specifically, I think adults, caregivers specifically, feel so well equipped and they don't have the tools, the resources, the training, the education that they need. So that's where Voice Today comes in. We're here to provide all of that education for you.
Great job. So listen, take advantage of that opportunity, everyone out there. Again, go to voicetoday.org and you can get in touch with the organization, find out how you can get involved and become part of the Voice movement. Again, they're doing great work there. We're going to continue. Let's get into the tools that help with the prevention component of what you serve, the audience that you serve. Talk about the tools that are available.
Well, our wonderful audience can go to voicetoday.org, and if you click on our shop button, there is a specific section for books. Okay. They'll see the Sorrows to Sapphires book. Just click right under there, and one of our tools is called Tough Talk to Tender Hearts. It's a great self-study or group study, which really helps you coaches you in the conversations that you need to have with children. It coaches you on normal sexual development and maybe some things, some signs, some symptoms that might be concerning.
Okay.
And then it helps you to know what resources are out there. So you actually learn in that program what to say, how to layer the conversations over a childhood, and then how to intervene appropriately. So that's Tough Talk to Tender Hearts is that book.
And you mentioned intervening, but there was something that I noticed that you talk about. There's a way to predict.
Yes,
Yeah,
there is a way to
appreciate
predict. When you put your child in situations, you need to think about, you need to be very proactive. Is this a safe place for my child? Is having the coach bring your child home in a car, is that safe? Is going behind closed doors and having a music lesson, is that safe? Is having teenagers and maybe your 5, 6, 8-year-old in the basement unsupervised? Is that safe?
Okay.
In the world of technology, we can just put some cameras in our house so you can click in the kitchen and see what's going on.
Okay.
So there are some ways to
Okay.
predict. There are some ways to predict behavior of perpetrators. If you look at someone that is trying to isolate your child, look at someone that perhaps your child's not comfortable with. I tell people all the time, trust that instinct. It is 100% correct. Do not question it. Trust it.
You know, you hear that a lot, at least I do. I hear that women are accused of suppressing that sixth sense. But, you know, we all actually possess a level of intuition.
It's a God-given gift, and I think it's a very much a tool of protection for children.
Yeah.
So if you feel like your child doesn't need to be alone with an adult, then your instinct is correct. You also can drop in unexpectedly. Let's say that you get a babysitter on a Friday night. Why don't you go have appetizers, come back, make your evening a little more interesting, and then go back out.
Yeah.
See what's going on.
Yeah.
When your child returns from an event, ask them how the event was. If they've been alone with an adult, ask them what happened. Pay attention to their body language and their eye contact. It'll speak volumes.
You know, it provides another means. We're always looking for ways to engage our children, and we often talk about, well, what do I say? But Angela has already shared with you some meaningful tools to get involved with your child, to increase that conversation. And, you know, one thing you mentioned about in your safe piece was the follow-up component. And you did mention before the break that it's probably the most difficult for people to do. But, you know, again, I'm going to encourage you not only to just become more proactive, as Angela has described, but share this view, this show, with others via your social media platforms, and encourage them to understand safe and to become involved.
Nash, let's
please.
camp out there a minute. So
Yes.
why do you think it's hard to follow up?
I think it's hard because people, one, if I get this information from a child, is it accurate? And if I step out there with an accusation, and if I'm wrong, you know, how then does it?
You are right on the mark.
Okay, great.
So we have to believe our children.
Yeah.
We have to believe. We're their protector.
Yeah.
So we have to believe them.
Yeah.
And that is tough because you feel like you're accusing someone, but you're not. What you're doing is you're intervening. A child needs intervention. If you suspect, it's your job to intervene and let the experts do the investigation. They're not going to rush out and arrest someone. They're going to do forensic interviews with that child. They're going to try to find evidence, first of all, physical evidence. Maybe corroborating evidence. Maybe there's a file that's already been opened on that person from accusations in the past. So what you don't understand is you have to give our system, which is not perfect, but we have to give our system an opportunity, our legal system an opportunity to work on behalf of that child. So I thank you for being honest about that. And 99.9% of the time, it is, do I believe my child? And it is, could this person have possibly have done it? And I'm going to go a step further. I told you 93% of the time, the child knows, loves, and trusts. Well, guess what? You love, know, and trust this person.
Right.
So your immediate instinct is that, oh my gosh, he would have never done that.
Right.
She would have never done that. That's not possible. That's not in their personality trait. That's not not in the realm of reality.
Yes.
And that's how and why perpetrators continue to victimize our children.
Very good point. Again, I hope you take heart to that. It's very crucial. It reminds me, actually, Angela, I was in education for a little more than 20 years,
Wow.
and the last 11 principal of high schools and middle schools. And
Oh, wow.
with the law that came out about mandated reporting, we, especially new teachers, you had to get them to understand, you're not trying to determine right or wrong, is
Yeah.
it correct? Not, you saw something, a bruise or something that,
Yes.
that you have to report. And that's what I'm hearing you saying. You're
Yes.
reminding me, that as parents, when you hear this from your child, the follow-up component is not about necessarily proving right or wrong, but it's
Yes.
acting upon and let the system take its
Exactly, and it's interesting that you've been in education and those mandatory reporting laws. We all need to be a mandatory
Yes.
reporter. It is a moral issue.
Yes.
It shouldn't be a legal issue. It should be a
Yes.
moral issue.
Yes.
And we are looking for the bruise. You don't see a bruise with child sexual abuse.
Right.
It is a hidden victimization. It is a hidden violation. So you have to respond on those external behavioral signs that you see. And if you'd like for me to camp out there a minute, I can tell you
Please,
some
yeah.
of the signs and symptoms
Absolutely.
of child sexual abuse.
Right where I want to go.
What we want to look for is a distinct change of behavior that we can't explain. There are signs and symptoms that independently may not point to child sexual abuse, but as you put the pieces together, and that's what Voice Today wants to help you do, to understand that if your child begins to withdraw, becomes depressed, begins to lie, begins to act out with rage or anger, maybe they begin to wet the bed, maybe their grades drop. Maybe you feel like they're keeping something from you. They're being very
Yeah.
secretive. They won't look you in the eye. Perhaps they're uncomfortable when someone enters the room. Those are the types of signs and symptoms that we're not saying is child sexual abuse. What we're saying is you need to have your alert up and you need to ask more questions. And perhaps it's time that maybe that child needs to go and visit a counselor just to spend some time talking about the whys.
Yes.
And putting those pieces together and not ignoring it or dismissing it as puberty or dismissing it as something else that's going on in the child's life. We want to put that thought that this is within the realm of possibility.
Yes.
When we're looking at 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6
Yes.
boys, there's a pretty high probability that danger and that risk is in your child's life.
Thank you. And I want to reassure you that this conversation is tough with your child and other children that you may know. But you guys at Voice Today, while you deal with a very tough, heavy subject matter, you guys have done some very exciting things. You just recently had a gala.
Yes,
Yes, share
we
with us.
like to have fun. We say we
Yes.
work hard and we party hard, and we like to say that we're light in a dark place. You got to shed the light. But yeah, we had our legacy ball. It was our second one. We sold out and had a great band and dancing and dinner, and had Christy Paul with CNN was our MC, and
Yes.
we raised a little over $100,000. So we were
Congratulations.
very excited
Very
that people
good.
turned out and they supported the cause, and we just love our supporters and our donors, and that's how we stay alive.
Annually? So does it happen around about the
Annually,
same time?
yes, February 28th. Put it on your calendar. I
Okay.
expect to see you there next year.
Yes, will do. But I'm inviting you
Yes.
to do the same, guys. Please mark your calendars. Find a way to get out
That
there.
seems like an eternity away, but it'll be here before we know it.
And
February
that's why we want to make
28th, 2016.
Exactly. And let me tell you, although it may be far away, you will be watching this again and sharing this. So someone's looking at it in December of 2015
Yeah.
and next year. Please take advantage of the opportunity to cut the rug with
right.
the Voice Today and go out there and have some fun for a very important cause. But there are some other events that are coming up. Share those with us.
When they go to our website, you'll find something going on at Voice Today just about every month. But in March, we've got retreats. We've got healing retreats
Yes.
for survivors of child sexual abuse.
Okay.
We are stepping out in faith, and we are quadrupling our healing retreats this year. So we're having a spring round of retreats for youth, girls, and women.
Yeah.
We'll have fall youth, girls, and women, and we're adding a couples retreat for maybe those couples that one or both have been sexually
Yes.
abused and intimacy is an
Yes.
issue. So our Voice of Peace retreat is for women. Our Voice of Power is for youth,
Yes.
ages 13 to 17. Our Voice of Intimacy is for couples, and then our Voice of Affirmation is for men.
Love
And that's going to be our toughest nut to crack.
Yeah.
Is to get men
Yeah.
to come out and say, yes, this happened to me, and to really rally for that healing that they desperately need, and they need to get their voice.
Well, I tell you, you hear, and I must admit, in researching Voice Today and look, I'm like, boy, they're staying busy all year long. So listen, there's always something you can get involved with. In fact, the Whiteout.
Yes, April 30th is Whiteout Child Sexual Abuse Day. We're asking everyone to wear white for the innocence of a child and to have compassion for a victim in your life. Maybe that's the first opportunity they have to tell you, this happened to me as a child, and by you wearing white, you will empower them.
Yeah.
So April 30th is Whiteout Child Sexual Abuse Day. On that Saturday, May 2nd, we've got a 5K run. So if they go to our website, they'll get all the information, and we need volunteers. Okay. If someone's listening and they're like, I want to make a difference, I want to change the world, come on, contact Voice Today. That's what we're doing.
Love it. And guys, you know, we're all about listening to the show, but to get involved, if you don't have, in fact, I'm going to say what you hear me say all the time. Rather than you thinking about, you have this burning desire to start a nonprofit, I promise you, there are enough organizations in existence that can benefit from you uniting your skills, your talents, your time. So rather than go through the process of thinking, just get involved. Volunteering, and I promise you, there's more than likely every level of activity you can get involved with the organization to help with this sincere cause. Were you about to say something?
I was, Nash. I was going to say, let us be your training ground. Yes. If you want to start a nonprofit, you just come right on over.
Yes.
You will see it's very challenging. It's tough work.
And tell them where you're located.
We're in Marietta. We're at 3855 Shallowford Road. So if they sort of know Johnson's Ferry Road that comes out of Sandy Springs and Sandy Plains Road, we're kind of halfway between, sort of on that Roswell-Marietta line. And we do have an office. We're open 9 to 5. And if you want to stuff envelopes, or if you want to call senators, or if you want to work with the media or work on events, we'll plug you in anywhere that you have gifts and talents.
So guys, listen, please get involved. There's so much that can be done. Again, I love the fact that the voice movement is taking place. You see there's a vibrant voice behind it and in front of it. She's out there under the gold dome and just active in every aspect of preventing child sexual abuse and also bring about healing. And before we leave, can we talk about the healing component a little bit?
I find that our society wants a survivor to go behind closed doors 1 hour a week with a counselor and get their healing there. Voice Today believes, like any other element in your life, any other hurt, pain, trauma, we need a healing community.
Yes.
So we're about bringing a community together. So our retreats were kind of birthed out of how are we going to support victims in the best way that we can. And going on a retreat, just mentally, you get fixated on there's going to be a change that takes place. God's going to show up. Something great's going to happen. So we take you away on a weekend that we pamper you, we love on you, we give you an opportunity. Perhaps you've never told your story. Perhaps you feel like you're going to traumatize somebody by telling your story. It is a God-centered weekend where we give you the opportunity to let that little girl or that little boy heal. And hopefully teach you some truths, maybe change some toxic thinking, some thinking. Most survivors think, I should have screamed, I should have yelled, I should have done something, I should have told. And they carry that guilt. Most survivors think, well, I didn't speak up and another child was victimized. So what we do at Voice Today is we change that story. You were powerless. You didn't have a voice, but you've got a voice now. And we try to help get you on the path to healing that's going to change your life forever and change somebody else's life. So that's what these retreats are about.
So again, we appreciate that you have an opportunity to hear about the process. There's the exposure, there's the awareness, but then there's healing. And so we really and truly appreciate the fact that you've joined us today.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Nash.
And Angela, since we first met last year sometime, I tell you, we've been attracted to you and your organization. And here at BizLinks TV Network, we just wanted an opportunity to be a part of sharing that word, getting that message out. And so we thank you for that privilege. Again, we would like to remind you to please get in touch with them at www.voicetoday.org. Any other means by which you would like for them to reach out?
Oh, of course. We're on Facebook. They can go to Voice Today, or they can friend me personally. They can go to Twitter. We're A Voice Today at Twitter. LinkedIn. There again, we're in every social media network. We're on YouTube, so there's a lot of educational videos on YouTube. But we're not hard to find. Just
Good.
Google Angela
No.
Williams or Voice Today, and they can find us. And we're really we're the spark that's going to start the blaze that's going to fire across this
I love
country
it.
and around the
I
globe
love it.
to protect the next generation of children and to give survivors an opportunity to heal. They need a platform. They need to stand up, and they need to know their voice matters.
Absolutely.
And they may have been silenced as a child, but they're not silenced any longer. We've got work to do.
Hey, get involved. You can reach us at www.bizlinks.tv to see this episode again on our network. You can go to our YouTube channel. Again, that's youtube.com/BizLinksTV. Again, the social media outlets, they're out there. Please share this very important episode with your network. We appreciate it. We thank you. We want to again give our gratitude towards our sponsors and our advertisers for making this again possible to share. Please support www.sipforyourcause.org or take advantage of their opportunity to support you and your organization as you seek to improve and to implement best practices. So again, thank you for being on the show. And as we always say here, this is for you.